Business ethics is a form of applied ethics or professional ethics that examines ethical principles and moral or ethical problems that can arise in a business environment. It can arise to all aspects of business conduct, and is relevant to the conduct of individuals and entire organizations. Business ethics laws and regulations dictate a standard of conduct that represents going beyond doing the legally right thing to acting morally right. The word itself, ethics, is derived from the Latin word ethos, which defines the moral values and characteristics of a society. Whereas social responsibility is achieved by balancing the interests of all stakeholders in the organization. Ethics relates to acceptable standards of conduct in making individual and group decisions. Corporate social responsibility is a type of international private business self-regulation that aims to contribute to societal goals of a philanthropic, activist, or charitable nature by engaging in or supporting volunteering or ethically oriented practices. The establishment where the research is being conducted is called Mallet Property Consultancy. Issues selected are marketing ethics, advertising, whistleblowing, which may come in during the day-to-day running of the business. Conflict of interest may also arise during marketing of the firm's products and day-to-day running of the business. Background of the issues. Marketing ethics is an area of applied ethics which deals with the moral principles behind the operation and regulation of marketing. Some areas of marketing ethics overlap with media and public relations ethics. The following are fundamental issues in the ethics of marketing, and they fall under framework or analysis for marketing. Value-oriented framework. Analyzing ethical problems on the basis of the values which they infringe. An example of such an approach is the American Association Code of Ethics. Stakeholders oriented framework analyzing ethical problems on the basis of whom they affect. Press oriented framework analyzing ethical problems in terms of categories used by marketing specialists. None of these frameworks by itself is a convenient and complete categorized marketing ethics. Advertising. It is the promotion of product, brand, or service to a viewership in order to attract interest, engagement, and sales. The first step towards modern advertising came with the development of printing in the 15th and 16th centuries. In the 17th century, such advertising was flourishing, with television advertising being a medium that engages the public. The practice is guided by a set of ethical dimensions called ethical policies. Whistleblowing. It is used when a worker passes on information concerning wrongdoing. In this guidance, we call that making a disclosure or blowing the whistle. The wrongdoing will not be something they have witnessed at work. Whistleblowing may be done by an employee where he finds that the ethical rules are broken knowingly or unknowingly, and an imminent danger for the company, consumers, or the public may be on site. Whistleblowing goes against the strong bonds in Indian companies and cultural norms of showing loyalty. Conflict of interest is a situation in which a person is in a position to derive personal benefits from actions or decisions made in their official capacity. Watson quit his job after questions about possible conflicts of interest. Mr. Inko, are there policies in your organization on the above issues that I have given background to?
Yes, Mr. Boatin. Television advertising, being a medium that engages the public, is guided by a set of ethical dimensions called ethical policies, which guides how advertising is practiced. This looks at how information is gathered, organized, and presented to the public, who are consumers of what is being advertised. From this submission, it can be emphasized that ethics is what directs advertisers during the orchestration of concepts, for it is to be presented in advertising content. The set of ethical policy on advertising, when implemented, especially on television, advertising becomes a means to reflect concerns of advertising practice, so as not to present information that in one way or the other affects the human life of living. In practical terms, ethical policy of AAG spells out and suggests how and what advertising should follow in certain domains of concern.
Thank you. So, what is the essence and motives of the marketing and advertising policy in your organization?
Thank you, Mr. Boatin. This policy and procedure document is to ensure accuracy and integrity of our marketing to meet the standards for the ESOS Act 2000 and National Code Standards 2007, Organizational Marketing and Advertising of AQF and VET qualifications.
Thank you. Does your organization have any general policy on marketing?
Yes, we have, Mr. Boatin. Mallet Property Consultancy has a general policy on marketing. Mallet Properties training management and staff are committed to ensuring that marketing of its buildings are undertaken in a professional manner and maintains the integrity and reputation of the industry. In the course of the marketing and sale of our buildings, there could be the possibility of conflict of interest. The company therefore has policy to control the occurrence of a possible conflict of interest.
Thank you. Is there a policy on conflict of interest in your organization?
Yes, Mr. Boatin. A conflict of interest policy exists at Mallet Properties Consultancy. It is used to outline procedures for employees when a possible conflict exists between their own personal interests and the interests of the organization.
Thank you. What is the purpose or motive for the conflict of interest policy?
Mr. Boatin, the purpose or motive of the policy is to protect the organization's interests when it is contemplating entering into a transaction or arrangements that might benefit the private interests of an officer or director of the organization, or might result in a possible excess benefit transaction. When conflict of interest really occurs and they become known by employees or they get to hear of it, they could blow the whistle.
Thank you. So, with this background, is there a whistleblowing policy in your company?
Yes, we have. Whistleblowing policy also exists at Mallet Property Consultancy. The term whistleblowing is used to describe the proactive approach taken within the organization by its employees and stakeholders to discharge a wrongdoing. The policy is designed to ensure that you can raise your concerns about wrongdoing or malpractice within the organization without fear of victimization, subsequent discrimination, disadvantage, or dismissal.
Thank you, Mr. Nko. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Researchers' commentary on implementation process on the policies, marketing ethics, and advertisement. The research revealed that to market ethically and effectively, one should be reminded that all marketing decisions and efforts are necessary to meet and suit the needs of customers, suppliers, and business partners. It was also noted that ethical behavior should be enforced throughout company culture and through company practices. Efforts are also made so that visitors to the company's site are not misled in any way and are able to easily distinguish contents from Google displayed ads. Conflict of interest. It was also found out that the model conflict of interest policy is just the start. Even the most comprehensive policy is ineffective if it is not implemented properly. Some of the most important things to consider is implementing a conflict of interest policy are education and training, leadership and communication. Education and training. Ongoing training and education about the policy and associated procedures are essential for embedding the policy within the organization. This always forms part of the induction process for employees when discussing the application of the Victorian public sector values of integrity, impartiality, and accountability, and how these apply to their roles. The organization also thus compulsory training for managers as well as employees of contractors. Leadership. Leadership is fundamental to implementing the model conflict of interest policy. It has always been clear that the CEO and senior leaders sponsor the policy and will enforce adherence to it, including taking decisive action in response to breaches. Communication. An effective communication strategy has always been a necessary support to the implementation of the model policy. It includes general information about the policy, how it works, and where to get information, as well as targeted communication designed to remind people of their responsibilities of crucial times. Evaluating and reviewing the policy. Measuring the effectiveness of a policy and process requires monitoring and evaluation of the policy, which is done from time to time. The organization also measures employees' awareness of their conflict of interest policy and processes. Whistleblowing. Processes to be followed up are outlined. Reports made under the policy are investigated. Training is provided to employees about whistleblowing policy and their rights and obligations under it. Managers who receive whistleblower reports are trained, and others are also trained to respond to them. Impact / success made so far. With regards to impact, success made so far, it was discovered that efforts were being made for the success of ethical policies in the organization. but unethical behaviors are still present among members of the organization. Ethical issues in business in Ghana generally are a problem for managers and the organization as a whole, as most businesses have no proper organizational policies and procedures. It can be seen in some private and public organizations where an individual will have to wait in a queue for the one to attend to him to finish a call or finish sending a WhatsApp message. The worst of it all is when the client has no choice but to use the services of that particular institution. This, on most occasions, lead to low productivity and also pushes the customer to the available competitor. Challenges and barriers. The research again revealed that managers face challenges or ethical dilemma, just like what the managers in the subject organization are facing. Most times, there is no agreement over exactly what the accepted principles of right or wrong are. Some of the challenges are as follows. Ethical challenges in obeying the law. Laws can pose considerable challenges for businesses. Laws don't always offer explicit clarity on what is expected from a business. In a small firm, establishing a company's ethical priorities may be a straightforward matter of face-to-face communication among company leaders and staff. Large firms need to communicate their priorities more formally and usually create codes of conduct that will market the organization effectively. Keeping track of business activities. Unless a company can keep track of activities regarding ethical behaviors, it's possible to know if good deeds are keeping up with good words. Engaging with stakeholders. Another set of challenges in implementing companies' ethics arises from the expectation of stakeholders. The clients you engage with, including customers, suppliers, shippers, shareholders, labor groups, and communities, often have a different set of ethical priorities than your business has. However, they may still expect your company to be ethically responsive to their priorities. Doing good versus doing well. A major ethical dilemma for business of any size boils down the challenges that is referred to as doing good versus doing well. Companies need to strike a balance between their obligation to make profit for their owners and shareholders and their desire to pursue ethical obligations, that is doing good. In conclusion, therefore, it is worth mentioning that employees make better decisions in less time with business ethics as guiding principles. This increases productivity and overall employee morale. When employees complete work in a way that is based on honesty and integrity, the whole organization benefits. Here are 5 steps that companies can take to ensure that their cooperation is effective and becomes embedded in the company's culture. The company can embark on the implementation of A. Effective code of ethics. B. Communication and awareness campaigns. C. Training and reinforcement. D. Supporting context and culture. E. Mentoring and accountability. Thank you.